All right, so let's have a real talk conversation. There's a lot of discussion going on around the interwebs about how FacePunch has changed their terms of service when it comes to downloadable content, namely skins. Now, there might not be a whole lot of information to be had about this, but let's talk about why it's happening, how it's going to affect you as a server owner, how it's going to affect your players, and all of that good stuff. Hey everybody, welcome back to Rust Admin Academy, where I'm teaching you everything that you need to know about owning and operating a successful Rust server. On this channel, I do plugin reviews, tutorials, plus I want to have conversations like I'm having today, where we're talking about stuff that's not related to either one of those things. So if you're brand new to the channel, consider subscribing so that you stay up to date on everything that we're working on, and of course you get notified as soon as I upload a new video. So as I'm sure many of you know, FacePunch did do an update to their terms of service, or TOS, whatever you want to call it. Basically what they said, without using these exact words obviously, is that you can no longer use plugins like Skinner or SkinBox or skins or whatever to give access to the players on your server skins or DLCs that they didn't actually pay for. If this is brand new information to you, maybe you've never even experienced Rust skins or anything like that. If you go to the Steam store and you search up Rust skins, you're going to see something like this. Well, each one of these skins, and they put out new skins every week. Well, these skins cost money, and real money. It's real life money that people are spending on these skins. And so of course you may be wondering, where does that money go and why should we pay it? Well, obviously it's going to the person that actually designed the skin. They're getting a portion of it. FacePunch is getting a portion of it. Steam is getting a portion of it. Everybody along the way is getting a portion of this money. And if we're using plugins to get around that, you can obviously see why FacePunch might have a problem with that. And to be honest with you, this isn't a new thing. This isn't a new rule. This is just a rule that they're going to start enforcing. And the reason I say that is because we're basically pirating when we're doing this, and pirating has been against the law forever. We're gaining access to something that we didn't pay for that does actually have a value associated to it, and it is supposed to cost you in order to use it in game. If it didn't cost you any money, you're technically pirating. So does that mean that we all wasted all the money that we spent on these plugins? No, of course not. Just the 3 plugins that I picked that I wanted to talk about today. We've got Skinner available on Codefling. We've got Skin Controller also available on Codefling. And then we've also got building skins available on Codefling. And while I'm at it, I'm going to put links to all 3 of those plugins in the video description down below. To answer the question, did we waste our money on these plugins? No, absolutely not. Now, I'm not going to speak to building skins or Skin Controller right now, but let's talk about Skinner. So I actually reached out to Whispers last night to get his insight or thoughts on the new FacePunch TOS. And he gave me some really valuable insight, and so I'm glad I reached out to him before I started recording this video. My first reaction when I heard about this, I was pretty annoyed, I'm not gonna lie. But now that I've had some time to digest it and understand why they're doing it, and communicating with Whispers, I now completely understand and agree with why they did it. So when it comes to Whispers plugin Skinner available on Codefling, you might be wondering, okay, why should I still have this plugin? Did I waste my money? No, you didn't waste your money, because all of the skins that you do legitimately own, you can access all of those skins through Skinner. So if you happen to be the skin library on your team and you have all of the best skins, then you can be the teammate that is building the kits for the rest of your team. So you can still use that functionality where you can create skin sets out of the skins that you already own. So you can still use the plugin to quickly skin an entire kit, which of course prevents you from having to put each individual item into a workbench and change the skin the old way. You can also still automatically apply skins to the items that you already have in your inventory or in your base, whatever. All of that functionality that was in Skinner before is still there. The only limitation is it has to be used with the skins that you already own. Now, some of you might be looking at that as the bad news. So if you're one of those people, here's the good news. You can still add workshop skins into the plugin. So if you're not familiar with this page, this is the Rust Steam Workshop. So this is where people, anybody, can submit skins into the library for anybody to use. They also can be voted on and maybe one day become an official skin. I'll get to that in just a second. So when talking specifically about the Skinner plugin, you can have the owner or the admin of your server add skins from the Steam Workshop into the Skinner plugin so that you can utilize those skins in game. These skins on the workshop, they have no cost associated to them. They haven't been brought to that level yet. Maybe they will one day, but as of right now, as long as they can be added to the Skinner plugin, they're not breaking anybody's terms of service. So this can be huge. Now there is one little warning there that I do want to tell you about. It's if you have way too many workshop skins, there's a problem with Rust client side that might delay them actually loading in game. So just remember, there is such a thing as too many workshop skins. But now speaking to the owners or admins of Rust servers, if you have a team out there that has a specific skin set that they want to have implemented on your server, you can still do that using the Skinner plugin. So the long and the short of everything is basically don't pirate. don't use copyrighted materials unless you've actually paid for them. To most people, this is obviously a no-brainer, but I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I've been using these plugins for years, literally years, but even I've been using plugins exactly like this for this exact purpose. Now, again, I can't speak to anybody else's plugins, but I can talk about Skinner. There is a functionality because technically speaking, if you use the actual letter of the law, you can still utilize these skins on test servers only. So what Whispers has done is he's created a special permission, a very strictly and guarded permission within the plugin Skinner that will still allow you to use these skins. But this is for testing purposes only. This is not for mainstream consumption. Okay, great. So what happens if I get caught doing this? Well, you run some serious risks here, and depending on the size of your community, it may not be a risk worth taking. If FacePunch finds out that you're violating the terms of service that you agreed to as soon as you bought the game or installed a server, they can blacklist your server, which means you're never going to grow. In fact, your server is probably going to die and nobody's ever going to join it again. And if blacklisting isn't bad enough, I'm sure they have ways where they could take your server offline. I'm not sure how that would actually turn out. I don't know if that's possible. I'm just saying, don't run the risk if you don't want to risk your server. If you don't want to risk your community, don't mess around with this. Just follow the terms of service because they're going to start enforcing it. And I wouldn't want to be a part of that group that flies too close to the sun and gets burnt, if you know what I'm saying. Another important thing that I wanted to tell you about Skinner before I let you go is Whispers has actually implemented a filter system. So if you accidentally try to import a skin that is not allowed to be given away for free, the plugin will prevent you from doing that. So there's no risk of accidentally importing a skin that you're not allowed to use. There's also a function in there that will actually scan your existing imported skins, and if something from the Steam Workshop happens to actually be added into the Rust official skin library, where it was free before and now has a cost associated to it, the plugin will automatically kick that imported skin out, making it so that people can no longer use that skin because it now costs money to use. So in my opinion, Whispers88 has actually thought of everything so that we can still continue to use the Skinner plugin without violating FacePunch's terms of service. So I hope somebody finds this video interesting. I've had a lot of DMs, people asking me like, what's going on with the terms of service? What's going on with the money that I spent on these plugins? So I just wanted to put something together really quick to let you guys know that you didn't waste your money on these plugins. They are still functional and you can still use them. I'd love to hear some updates to know what is happening with Skin Controller or SkinBox. That's the one from ChaosCode. But I haven't specifically reached out to either one of those developers yet, but I'm sure they're working on similar procedures for their plugins as Whispers88 has done with Skinner. If you want to check out my full video on how to actually use the Skinner plugin, click on the video on the left-hand side of your screen right now. If you haven't yet, subscribe by hitting that button on the bottom left. And of course, if you want to support what I'm doing at Rust Admin Academy, hit up my website, the bottom right-hand link right there, SRTBULL.com or rustadminacademy.com. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next week.